going on? I'm gonna just make sure this is working. I see it working now, so it's working. Okay. Sorry about that, YouTube. We're picking up where we left off. We're on Johan Leonis taking on Sam Patterson. Johan, I just haven't been super impressed with him thus far in the promotion. Early in his career, he was knocking a lot of people out early in rounds, but in the last two fights, we just haven't seen him throw very many strikes. And you're not going to knock anyone out by just standing there and being gassed. So Sam Patterson made his debut last year, got brutally knocked out um, by Ashmos, just a crazy overhand. I think it was a right, but just a crazy overhand. And Sam Patterson cannot. I mean, I saw him on Dana White Contender Series. He is extremely hittable, and I think if Johan Leonis goes in there with the mindset he used to have when he went into the octagon, and he really, really tries to take his opponent's head off, which I think he'll knock out Sam Patterson. So I'm going to go with Johan Leonis to win this fight. He is the favorite. He's at -148. Sam Patterson, slight underdog at +124. Sam Patterson, good frame, right? Really tall. I think he's a really good grappler. But the stand up, it doesn't look comfortable. Odds makers do not think this is going to go the distance at -550. I agree. And I would have to go with the Leonis KO at +110. And I'm not so sure Sam Patterson's like UFC material. He might be. His grappling might be that good where he's able to hang out in the promotion for a long time, but I'm not totally convinced. The next fight we've got is Jillian Robertson taking on Polyana Viana. Polyana Viana is an extremely frustrating fighter to put money on. She pulls guard, she fights off of her back. And against a wrestler like Jillian Robertson, I just think this is going to be a really, really tough match for Polyana Viana to win. I'm going with Canada here, Jillian Robertson, to get it done at home. She's fought an extremely high level of competition throughout her career. And I just think she can wrestle in this. She can stay safe in the guard of Polyana Viana, and it's just going to be a fairly routine fight, providing she doesn't get her arm caught or her neck caught in a guillotine or something. But give me Jillian Robertson here to get it done. I'd say probably a decision. She is the favorite at -305. Odds makers do not agree. They think this fight will not go the distance at -200. They're predicting a submission from Jillian Robertson, which, I mean, I don't know the last time Polyana Viana went a distance. She's 0-4 in decisions. And she went to a decision against Tabitha Ricci. She got arm triangle choked by Yasmin Lucindo her last fight. Um, does carry decent power in the hands when she's striking, but I li- I like Jillian Robertson to wrestle in this one. Sergey Sidey taking on Ramon Tavares. I think Ramon Tavares missed weight. Sergey Sidey and Ramon Tavares, they fought before. They fought on Contender Series. It was a good back and forth few seconds, tens of seconds until Sergey knocked down Ramon Tavares, and then it was just an awful stoppage. There's really no excuse for it. So Ramon, you look on paper and you see the knockout, but it was nothing. I mean, he was with it all the way. He just got sat on his butt, but he was with it. So I think that's why we're seeing them get this opportunity here. Ramon Tavares, crazy power in his hands. Sergey Sidey, probably the better grappler heading into this. I think this time the roles get reversed. I think we see Ramon Tavares catch Sergey Sade with something and score his knockout. So I'm gonna roll with Ramon Tavares to get it done. Curious what the odds are on this one. I'm sure it's like basically a pick 'em. Minus 180. Sade is the slight favorite, so we're going with our second underdog pick of the night with Ramon Tavares, and I like the knockout. I think either way. Odds makers do not think this is going to go the distance at minus 330. I agree. The Tavares KO is plus 275. The Sade KO is plus 150. I'm going to roll with Tavares to get it done. The underdog. I'm gonna text back my buddy who was in the chat. For the next fight, we've got Charles Jourdain. I love his nickname, Air Jourdain, taking on Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson is extremely tall for the 155-pound division at 6'2". Yeah, just lengthy, point striker, wants to stay on the outside, has some grappling. I don't really think we'll see him implement that too much against Charles Jourdain, who's just incredibly dangerous in the when you're grappling with them. Um, it's an interesting fight. I think I like Charles Jourdain and his pace, his pressure. I don't really think we're gonna see him just hang out on the outside and let Woodson pick him apart. But you know, we've seen some fights where Charles Jourdain just doesn't look the best. I'm trying to think back on specifically. Uh, I mean, I thought he got tired against Burgos. I guess that's the fight that kind of comes to mind to me is the Burgos fight. I thought he should have won that. Julian Erosa gets submitted late in that fight in round 3. So uh, I think he brings it though. He always brings it. He's at home. I think he gets it done. I think he probably gets it done inside the distance and is looking for a finish. So I'm gonna roll with Charles Jourdain minus 205. Odds makers, it's basically a pick 'em for it to go the distance. And then the Jourdain KO is at plus 225. The decision's at plus 200. There are no, I mean, plus 550 for the submission. Maybe that's possible. I don't know. I'm gonna probably just roll with Charles Jourdain on the money line as my pick, and then maybe throw him in some sort of round robin or something. For the last fight of the prelims, we've got Brad Katona taking on Garrett Armfeld. Uh, Brad Katona is just knows how to win fights. Very good grappler. Very high IQ in the octagon. Has faced some good competition. I know he lost, but he's fought Marab. And I think he's a really good fighter. He is the Canadian fighter, and I think there is something to that when you're fighting in Canada. I think home field advantage exists. Garrett Armfeld, good power in the hands. I think where he potentially wins this fight is on the feet. Brad Katona striking with him. I don't think we're going to see that. I think we see Brad Katona wrestle and get this done via decision. So I'm going to roll with Brad Katona via decision. He's the favorite at minus 225. The decision is plus 110. Odds makers like this fight to go the distance at minus 165. For the first fight of the main card, we've got Arnold Allen taking on Movsar Evloev. I don't think I've ever gotten that name right. But But Masvidal is extremely good. We've only seen Arnold Allen lose to, I think, Max in the UFC. And up until then, he was kinda streaking. I don't know, I think Masvidal, really good grappling, obviously, and I think he's just a really well-rounded technical fighter. I think Arnold is really talented too, carries great power, good physical attributes, but I just I don't know, I picture, like, that Dan Hooker fight, and he's, like, kind of wild and crazy in there. I know he scored the KO against Dan Hooker, but he's not, like, the most technically sound fighter, and I imagine Masvidal is gonna beat him here. I'm gonna roll with Masvidal to get this done, probably a decision, over Arnold Allen. I think he's gonna wrestle with them, um, just be a minute winner, basically, in this fight. Masvidal is the favorite at -185. Odds makers like this to go the distance at -300. I agree. I like the Masvidal decision at -135. Probably not enough juice if you're looking to bet, um, on that line because it was -185 for money line and -135 for decision. So probably not enough, juice in that situation. Man, I don't know who just tried to join me, but that's their username. Little, little sus. Chris Curtis taking on Marc-Andre Barriault. A lot of people like Chris Curtis. I mean, I like him. I don't know. He's a frustrating fighter. I feel like if he's not scoring knockouts, he kind of just is really like throws a fit in there and has really low output. And it's just like against, I think it was versus Jack Hermanson. He was just like a little pussy. Same with Gastelum, you know, just like talking shit after the fight. And I mean, he carries great power in his hands. His short lead hooks are ridiculous. He looks like Popeye. Um, his arms and his closed eye, but yeah, he's taking on a tough opponent in Marc-Andre Barriault. Um, I think this is going to be a good fight. I think this is going to be a fight that does play out in the pocket. Someone does get dropped, and Marc Andre is super durable. Chris Curtis is super durable. But I do think that given the striking power of both of these guys, I think someone knocks someone out. So I'm gonna reluctantly choose Chris Curtis just because if he doesn't score the knockout, I give him 0 chance to win a decision, versus Marc-Andre Barriault in Canada, just based on what I've seen from Chris Curtis in his decision fights. He seriously, he just starts crying in the octagon and gets super frustrated, and it's clear. It's evident. So, and he's not throwing strikes then. He's just making fun of his opponent for running while they're scoring points on him. So it's just I don't know. It's just not a guy I would want to put any money on, but whatever. Oh, I got to read off the odds. Chris Curtis is the favorite at -185. Odds makers like this to go the distance at -135. If that's the case, I'm serious. Give me Marc-Andre Barriault in a decision because I don't trust Chris one bit. Neil Magny taking on Mike Mallet. Neil Magny's coming off of the leg kick clinic put on by Ian Gary. And then Mike Mallet is coming off of the win against Fudget, Adam Fudget. Yeah. And Mallet looks good. I mean, he hasn't been in a 15-minute fight in a long, long time. That's the narrative I keep seeing put out there. I don't think he needs 15 minutes against Magny. I think I go back to the Gilbert Burns fight. I think Magny is definitely someone Mike Mallet can grapple with early in this bout, and I think he can submit him early in this bout. So I'm going to go with the early submission by Mike Mallet here. Um, yeah, and Magny very well rounded, obviously a well tenured, challenging opponent for Mike Mallet. But yeah, I don't know. We kind of saw him get ragdolled against Gilbert, and I'm not saying Mike Mallet's like as good of a jujitsu practitioner as Gilbert Burns, but I think he could probably take down Neil Magny. I think he could probably win minutes and be in top position. And then I do think he's good enough to get a finish in this fight. So the submission's at plus 110 for Mike Mallet. Odds makers don't like this to go the distance. They say no at minus 260 or 280. And then Mike Mallett's the heavy favorite at minus 380. So he's definitely one of those pieces I would consider in my parlays. And I'll put my like official unit bets and stuff out tomorrow. Um, and yeah, I just haven't decided what I'm doing. So Mike Mallet, Jillian Robertson, Jasmine Judavicius, I was gonna parlay all them at like plus 125 or something, but I don't really know what to do with the Judavicius and Priscilla Cachoeira fight after Priscilla misses weight by that much. It's just, I just kind of want to stand at the TV, not cheer, not do anything, just throwing a wrench in my parlay. Another variable. Raquel Pennington taking on Myra Buena Silva. I say Bueno Silva. Raquel Pennington, definitely the more experienced fighter. Has fought against some great competition and beat some great people. Beat Ketlin Vera via split decision. Macy Chiazon, Aspen Ladd, which isn't amazing. I think lost to Holly Holm, Irene Aldana. Got knocked out in the 5th round by Amanda Nunez. So she's fought, legends in her respective division. But I think Myra Buena Silva is the truth. This girl is really, really good. I'm excited to watch her fight. I think she's able to score a finish. I'm just looking, she's got 3 submission wins in a row over Holly Holm, Landsberg, and Stephanie Egger, which isn't, yeah, I get it's not the best. She had a draw in her first fight or that wasn't her first fight. Her last loss was to Mannion Fiora in 2021. I thought Mannion was going to get a shot at the title at some point last year, but that never came to fruition. Then she fought Rose Namajunas, and I don't know where she stands. Is she supposed to fight like Blanchfield, Aaron Blanchfield? That'd be a really good number 1 contender fight. But I don't know. I don't know where this division really stands because Juliana Pena, right, is technically the number 1 contender who's just been, I don't know. I don't think she's fought since that second Amanda Nunez fight. So it's been a while. And I don't really know what the state of that division is. But I like Myra Buena Silva to win this fight. I think she could get a submission, but she's only minus 166. And I just, Yeah, I just think she's extremely talented. Odds makers like the submission from Myra at plus 175. How many submission losses does Raquel Pennington have in her career? 8 total losses, 1 submission loss, and that came to Kat Zingano in 2012. That's crazy. Um, yeah, I'm probably not gonna take a stab at that submission at 175. I'll probably just go money line at minus 166. And now we've got the main event. We've got Sean Strickland taking on Dricus Du Plessis. First of all, shout out to all the heroes out there cheering deeply for Sean's fictional son, who doesn't exist. And fuck that reporter. That reporter's a scumbag. You go into an event, you start asking irrelevant, controversial questions. You can't convince me of anything else besides the fact you're in the business of manufacturing and monetizing controversy. If I love something, I'm not going to present it on a silver platter in front of Sean Strickland. So if you consider yourself an ally of anyone, why would you put that in the focus of a crazy human being like Sean? So I have zero respect for the reporter. I don't really care for Sean's answer or share any values like that. But I think that reporter should get his press pass revoked. I think look, you're either in this business, like the only reason media is accepted in any sort of setting is to help grow the sport, right? Get exposure out there. Uh, for the sport, but when you're actively trying to sabotage events, athletes, the promotion, I mean, I've heard it people go so far as to say like Disney and the UFC and sponsors need to comment on this. It's like seriously, sit on it. Sit on it. No, people don't have to genuflect to the same values and beliefs that you share, that you have, right? And I think I just don't think it was the time or place to be asking those sort of questions. That's my opinion on it. Um, so everyone who's got, a like I got a big forehead, like a vein coming out here. They're so mad they can't even take a full breath in over some made up hypothetical. What's wrong with you? Get some it's really cold, but get some fresh air. Strickland's taking on Dricus Du Plessis. I already kind of alluded to my pick at the beginning of the stream. I'm rolling with Driscus. I think Sean's a tough opponent for anyone who's going to go 25 minutes against him. Like he's got terrific cardio output, unorthodox boxing style, but I think Driscus is. First of all, he's not going to like back up against the fence like we saw Izzy do in that was like 3 fights in a row. I think to be honest, I think some of the habits Izzy developed versus Pereira carried over to Sean, and that was bad for him. Like we've we've seen Izzy fight from the outside, but I hadn't really seen him pressed up against the fence looking to counter um, in such a wild and reckless manner before he faced Alex Pereira. And then we saw him against Sean, and he got tagged in round 1, but even before like, that was against the fence already, so Sean was on his front foot, and I just don't see Driscus counterpunching and backpedaling. I think he's a front foot fighter. We saw it against Rob Whittaker. He just broke Rob, hit him with a jab that sat him down, and then gets the finish, and that was just, like, crazy, right? We have seen him tired in there against the Derek Brunson, who's gonna wrestle F you, right? That's Derek's MO. Then he had the nose surgery, right? And was his very next fight against Rob Whittaker. It was. Yeah, it was against Rob Whittaker. And he looked a little tired against Darren Till, but then he got his nose fixed and looked amazing against Rob Whittaker. I think Driscus is one of those big athletes that's just going to go in there and take care of Sean, no problem. And I don't think, styles make fights. I don't think, everyone saw what Strickland did against Pereira, right? And they're like, oh, he stands no chance against Adesanya. I said on my stream, if Izzy isn't able to get the early knockout, he's gonna lose the fight to Sean. He's too tough to beat if you're just looking to go to a decision against him. There's a high I mean, right now, Sean's the favorite. It's basically a pick 'em. Um, yeah, Driscus is down to -108. Um, that's why I wanted to tweet about him earlier in the week at +114, and then, yeah, people on, like, Tuesday, Wednesday tweeting out +130, like, they're just making shit up at this point, so, yeah, I'm gonna go with Driscus to get it done. I think he gets it done with an early knockout or submission of Sean Strickland. I do think he is a better fighter than everyone gives him credit for. I think he's gets in extremely entertaining fights typically. Um, but I think this is just one of those opponents that's going to be super difficult for him to overcome in the octagon. And then on the Driscus side, I took him over Whitaker at like plus 245. I just am every time I see this guy in the octagon, I'm more and more impressed. I think he's one of those fighters who's incredible providing his gas tank holds up. And I think that's, Sean's path to victory is scoring like a late finish just because Driscus is so tired, but I don't see that happening. I think it's within 3 rounds, we see Driscus KO Sean. I mean, I could see round 1, I could see round 2, I could see round 3, but I think Driscus gets it done. He is the slight underdog at -108, so that's our 3rd underdog pick tonight, and I think he gets it done inside the distance. Odds makers agree. They like the, KO at +200. They like the Sean KO at +215, and they like the Sean decision at +330. That concludes my UFC 297 breakdown. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, my name is Bill. This is KO Bets. TikTok, go check me out on YouTube. I will see everyone next week. Peace.